the conference will be realized all in Russian. So the Russian audience will simply follow the original videos, except for two little video of testimonials that will be in German. We will send to all participants the Russian videos of those, the Russian translation of those two videos by email tomorrow. For the English audience and the German audience, we have prepared all the video translated in their languages. So you have in the chat the link for German and English version of the entire conference. All the other languages, that is Italian, French, Spanish, and Romanian, will have online interpreters.
Good afternoon, dear participants of the conference. I'll introduce myself. My name is Konstantin Borisovich Vasilyev. I'm a doctor. I work as a physiotherapist and also have a specialization in psychotherapy, reflexology. I got acquainted with the teachings of Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi in 2005, and now I'm a teacher at the Grigory Grabovoi Education Center. I would like to express my gratitude to Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi for the opportunity to share with you the result of using the PRK1U device in a clinic setting. Applying the control methods outlined in the writings of Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi, I had many positive results on particular tasks. Today, I want to share the result of using the PRK1U device to protect the population from infection with the infectious disease COVID-19. The work was carried out in the period from February to May 2020 on the basis of the district polyclinic. The individual PRK1U device was in my office at the clinic. It was a red zone, that is, a place where patients with complaints of fever, cough, and olfactory impairment were examined. The device was in the clinic building for 3 months, February, March, April. And during this period, the medical staff working in the red zone didn't get sick. 3 doctors who served patients at home got sick in the clinic, but their illness was mild. And this is despite the fact that in a medical institution located in the same area, but at a fairly large distance from the clinic, there were 7 deaths among the medical staff, according to an employee of the institution. Before the May holidays, April 30, the device was removed from the clinic building, and it was noted that in the absence of the device, the number of patients assigned to this clinic increased by about 3 times over the period from May to July, that is, 3 months. This clearly demonstrates the possibilities of using the PRK1 device for the prevention and treatment of coronavirus infection. I will provide available statistics for 2 months. From March 16 to May 9, 2020, 47 people fell ill. This is the period during which the PRK1U device was in the clinic. From May 9 to June 12, 2020, 186 people fell ill. During this period, the device was not in the clinic. I would also like to note that in order to solve the problem of preventing and treating COVID-19, Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi remotely expanded the functionality of the device. The device ensured safety within a radius of 1 kilometer, which is clearly seen from the statistical data. I would like to express my deep gratitude to Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi for such powerful support of people in the area of health promotion and the ability to resist aggressive infections and even in case of illness to undergo the process in the shortest possible time, 3-4 days, and return to a state of health without complications. What complications arise with this disease? Central nervous system, anxiety, depression, memory, attention, speed of thinking deteriorate. Learning difficulties arise, headaches, irritability, insomnia. Acute cerebrovascular disorders, confusion, dizziness are also observed. Cardiovascular system, development of arrhythmia, decompensation of cardiac activity, and even occurrence of myocardial infarction. Dick syndrome, disorders of the blood coagulation system, leads to occurrence of multiple blood clots, hence heart attacks, strokes. Lungs, occurrence of viral pneumonia, remote consequences, pulmonary fibrosis. In areas of fibrosis, there is no breathing. Damage to internal organs is noted, and this is far from all the information on the manifestations of complications with COVID-19. Taking into account all the above, we can conclude that the PRK1U device provides powerful protection, and in case of illness, it ensures the absence of such a large number of complications, each of which can lead to disability or death. And the statistics provided show that in the absence of the device, we received an increase in morbidity by more than 3 times. The use of the PRK1U device has clearly demonstrated the effectiveness of its work, and these are thousands of saved human lives. It is impossible to underestimate the importance of this device technology. I will say about myself that while working in control technologies for the prevention of COVID-19 using the individual device PRK1U, I haven't been ill with this infection, which also proves the effectiveness of using the device and the corresponding control technologies. This is where I end my message. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you to Dr. Vasiliev. And we can pass to two German testimonies. I remind to the interpreters that they have the English and Russian version of those testimonies. And so now we'll share the original Deutsch version, and they will translate in the language that they work on. So we'll start with the intervention of Ljubica Jelaca Renner. Ljubica Jelaca Renner is a graduate economist and naturopath. And she lives in Germany. And now she is a sub-licensee, one of the leading teachers of the Grigory Grabovoi Education Center in Germany. Okay, so we'll start with the video of Ljubica. Um, I remind to the interpreters to pick up the translation that they already have.
Good day. Greetings to all of you. My name is Ljubica Jelaca Renner. I'm from Croatia and I have been in Germany for 33 years. I'm a graduate economist and a natural health practitioner with my own practice in Passau. I only discovered the teachings of Grigory Grabovoi in 2010, and since then I have found answers to all my questions. Why am I participating now? Due to Grigory Grabovoi's recommendation and because of the unexpected experiences I had with the PRK1U device. I'm now here to convey how it all happened. First, I will read my text and then I will convey the answers to my questions from Grigory Grabovoi. So, as I said, first I will read my text. Afterward, I will read the answers from Grigory Grabovoi. I have been studying the teachings of Grabovoi since 2010, that is for 14 years. In that time, I found answers to all the questions that I have been asking myself since early childhood, age 4. From the beginning, I also worked with the PRK1U device invented by Grigory Grabovoi, but only partially or superficially. For me, the essence was always his teachings, his seminars, and his very detailed explanations in every respect. Our colleague, Erika Weber, who attended almost every seminar and webinar, left this plane on November 5th, 2023. Before she passed, she left me some of her paintings, which she had created, books, other items, and all the books by Grigory Grabovoi she studied, along with the PRK1U containing her personal data. I couldn't easily cope with her departure from this plane. About a month later, I turned on her PRK1U and turned it off again after about 1-2 minutes. Upon activating the device, I felt an indescribable sensation as though she was extremely connected with the device and it emitted an extreme level of power and influence. The size and strength emanating from Erica's PRK1U were striking. During the webinar, method of approaching the physical body of the one God, we, the webinar participants, worked together in two joint concentration sessions on Erica's resurrection. During the first resurrection concentration, I clearly sensed Erica felt her joy. During the second concentration, I received nothing from Erica. I kept Erica's device switched off from November 2023 to October 2, 2024. After 11 months, I wanted to know what was happening with Erica's PRK1U, as I intended to send this device to someone interested in testing it. So, I switched on Erica Weber's PRK1U and the following occurred. Yesterday, October 3rd, I experienced using Erica Weber's PRK1U as I hadn't turned it on since her passing 11 months earlier. Immediately after turning it on, I felt slight nausea. This lasted for about 2 minutes. I sat about 1 meter away from her PRK1U and saw a small light blue sphere about 70 centimeters above the center of the device, surrounded by white mist. This sphere was very stable and didn't move. After a few seconds, I realized that this was her, Erica's soul, and I recognized that all her information was there. Then I realized that this device shouldn't be given to just anyone, but should be brought to Croatia in the Lika region, where Erica wanted to buy land and live. Once the building I'm planning for teaching purposes is completed. While perceiving her PRK1U, I tried to activate the third mode, but it didn't work. It activated for about 1 second and then immediately shut off again. I tried to activate the third mode 3 times without success. I took this as a clear sign that Erica was not on the physical level, but in the subtle realm of the device. That evening, I turned off the device. This morning, October 4, I turned it on again, and this time the third mode was activated. I took this as her return to the physical level. I sent this text to Patrice Vernet as we had been discussing a collaboration with Lydia Gruber, and I shared this experience verbally and in text with him. He sent the text to Grigory Grabovoi, but on October 10th, I also sent the text to Grigory Grabovoi directly. On the same day, Patrice received the following response from Grigory Grabovoi, quotes, It's possible to tell Ljubica that the sphere is part of the soul, that is, the control came from the soul of Erika Weber.
habe ich den Text auch selbst zu Grigori Grabovoi gesendet. An dem gleichen Tag, also 10. Oktober, kam zu Patrice die
The
Botschaft
third mode
von
activated
Grigori
for
Grabovoi.
about 1 second
Also ich
because the
lese den
artificial
Text
intelligence function was activated in the PRK1U settings
nächstes Jahr.
as it
Es
responded to
ist
the
wie ein
control
Teil der
from Erika
Seele.
Weber's
Das
soul
heißt,
when the
ich
physical
verlor
body's
Kontakt
information
mit der
was
Seele
far
von
away.
Erika Weber. Der dritte Modus wurde für circa eine Sekunde eingeschaltet, weil in den Einschaltungen des
The
PRK1U
next
die
day, on
Funktion der
October 4th, the
Geistintelligenz
device was
aktiviert wurde,
activated
weil
because
sich
the
die
information
Aufnahme
of the
von der
soul
Seele von Erika Weber
replaced the
startete,
information of the physical
während,
body, which,
wenn die
as Ljubica
Informationen
reported,
sprechen können.
indicated Erika Weber's
Eine
return to the physical
Entfernung.
plane.
Am nächsten Tag, dem 4. Oktober, wurde das Gerät eingeschaltet, weil die Informationen der
This
Seele
describes
an
the
die
case
Seele
where the
des
soul
Menschen
acted
eines
through PRK1U with the
transportaten,
experience of
was so viel
working
zu berichten,
with
die
PRK1U
Rückkehr
so
von
that the
Erika
manifested
auf die physische
resurrection could occur
Information.
more quickly.
Dies beschreibt den Fall, dass die Seele mit der Erfahrung der Arbeit mit PRK1U
It's essential to
mit der
tell
Arbeit mit
Ljubica that
PRK1U
her
arbeitet,
observation is very
so dass die
important.
manifestierte
This
Arbeit
observation
schneller
shows
erfolgen
that it's
kann.
possible to
Alles
accelerate the
andere
process of
setzt voraus
manifested
eine
resurrection
Beobachtung
by
der
using
Seele.
PRK1U,
Diese
especially for
Beobachtung zeigt,
those on
dass die
whom the
Applikation
knowledge of
der
resurrection
Seele auf
technologies,
den
according
Aufbau
to the
des
teachings, is
Routeneinsatz
applied,
PRK1
and
zu
also
beschleunigen,
to speed up
vor
the
allem
general
die,
resurrection.
auf die das Wissen über die Auferstehungstechnologien nach der Lehre angewendet wird und auch die allgemeine
This
Auferstehung
knowledge also
zugunsten
makes
kommt.
it possible to realize
Dies
the
ist eine
processes of eternal
Bewegung,
life
die
in their physical
Prozesse der
bodies, not only
Lebensevolution
for those who
sondern
practice the
nicht
teachings,
nur
but
bei
also to
denjenigen, die die
extend
Lehre
eternal life
praktizieren,
to
sondern
everyone
aufgrund
due
dessen,
to the
diese
increased stability of the
der
processes
Prozesse des
of
ewigen
eternal
Lebens
life.
auch das
End quotes.
ewige Leben auf alle auszudehnen. Das war der Text
Through what
von
has
Grigori
happened,
Grabovoi.
I have begun
Sehr
to
geehrter
understand
Lesetext,
and directly
ich
experience
durfte
the
mich
importance
von
of the
den
device
Verstandenen dort
and its immense
direkt über die
significance for
Wichtigkeit des Textes
resurrection.
zu erfahren und seine riesige Bedeutung für die Auferstehung. Seitdem geschieht es
Since
mir
then, something
regelmäßig,
new happens every day in
immer
contact with
wieder
Erica
in jedem
through the
Tag
device.
nahm ich
Every
sie
day, I
nämlich
perceive her in a
als eine
new,
andere
different
Linie,
way, particularly
als
that
neue,
she is often
weil sie da
traveling
ist,
but also
weil sie weit
returns.
unterwegs ist, aber auch immer wieder zurückkommt. Meine Absichten waren
My
nicht,
intentions were not to
an die
work on
Auferstehung zu
resurrection
arbeiten.
now, although many relatives and friends
Offensichtliche
lost
Verwandte
in
haben sich
wars
unsere
have
entfernt
left this
diese
plane.
Ebene verlassen haben. Nun in letzter Zeit, seit ich begonnen habe, über das
Recently,
PRK von
since I
Erika Weber
started
zu
working
Ihnen
on
zu
her return
bekommen,
through Erica Weber's
kam die
PRK1U, the
Auferstehung
resurrection of others has
ebenfalls
also happened
unerwartet.
unexpectedly.
Durch alles, was mit der PRK so von Erika Weber geschah,
Through
habe ich
everything that has
verstanden,
happened
dass
with
eine
Erica Weber's
wesentlich
PRK1U,
größere
I have understood that
Wirkungskraft hat,
the device
als man
has a
sich
far greater impact
erhofft
and
hatte.
power than one could imagine.
Das hier Geschriebene ist ein
What is
Beginn der
written
allgemeinen
here
Auferstehung,
marks the beginning
die
of the
unser
general resurrection for
PRK1
which
und PRK1U
PRK1U and
repräsentiert.
PRK1UM offer us all immense support. This is
Das
what
ist
I
es,
wanted
was
to
ich sagen
convey.
wollte. Ich wünsche unseren Lehrer Grigori
I
Grabovoi
wish our teacher
alles
Grigori
Gute zu seinem
Grabovoi all the
Geburtstag,
best on his birthday.
alles Gute zu seiner Ankunft
Best
auf diese
wishes
Erde,
for his arrival on
die
this
alle
earth,
Menschen,
supporting everyone on
die
earth,
ganze
the entire cosmos, and accelerating our development. Thank you again. Best wishes to all. With love, Ljubica.
Um, yes, our next speaker is Silvia Rolli from Switzerland. Silvia is a medic by education, and she works as a private nurse. She has been studying the teaching of Grigory Grabovoi since 2017. And she has a unique experience and observation of the use of several PRK1U devices at the same time. Okay, so I will share the video and I will check in the different languages if everything is okay. So just a minute.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Silvia Rolli. I'm 66 years old and work as an independent nurse. My husband and I have been studying the teachings of Mr. Grigory Grabovoi since 2017. After attending a seminar in July 2017 in Oberschellesheim, Munich, with Mr. Konev on the topic of control of time, our lives began to change positively. This evening, I would like to share my experiences using three PRK1U devices operating simultaneously. My husband and I gradually purchased three PRK1U devices using our retirement savings, the first in 2020 and the other two the following year. We originally wanted to place one PRK1U device in each of our sons' homes to protect them and those around them. However, our sons were not yet ready for this, so we left all three devices turned on at our home 24 hours a day. I work with one device every night for at least an hour to ensure macro salvation, focus on eternal life for all, and spread the teachings of Mr. Grigory Grabovoi with the number sequence 17841221. Additionally, I also work for our personal goals and events. If I don't have time, I'm too tired, and don't work for 2 nights, the device simply stops blinking. I then have to turn it off completely and restart it. Mr. Grabovoi wrote about this. This is the work of the artificial intelligence of the PRK1U devices, which, through self development within a group of devices, operates more effectively and indicates when it is necessary to work with the devices regularly. This is a new kind of artificial intelligence that only works in PRK1U or PRK1UM, which no other technical devices in the world yet possess, operating on a field level, developing and interacting with consciousness. We noticed that since these three PRK1U devices have been on, no one has died in our village. There are many very ill people here, also due to vaccination side effects, but no one has died. One woman left her body by suicide. Others have died in nursing homes that are much further away, and someone died in the hospital. A colleague of mine who lives near Geneva, also has three PRK1U devices running simultaneously in her village, and she told me a year ago that no one in that village has died since the devices were operational. Mr. Grabovoi writes, Silvia's message about preventing deaths in villages where three PRK1U devices are in continuous operation is very important for developing technology to prevent the death of those living near PRK1U or PRK1UM devices, or even better, a group of multiple devices, or ideally systems of 25 devices, all specially aligned for maximum mutual enhancement to ensure eternal life for all. This is supported by similar cases confirming that people are not dying in areas where the devices are located. Similar cases in which people don't die where the devices are located are increasing. As Silvia wrote, the device works very well. My husband became seriously ill with heart problems in the spring. His heart was fluttering more than it was beating, and his pulse was racing at around 150 to 200 beats per minute. My husband couldn't longer sleep, and eventually he couldn't eat either. It was all too much for his heart. He wanted to listen to lectures and prayers, but he couldn't bear anything anymore. He wrote the phrase, "Believe and trust, it helps, divine power heals," on a matchbox and put small stones in it so that he always knew where the box was at night and could read this phrase with a flashlight whenever he needed. At that time, he refused to see a doctor or go to the hospital. I, however, trusted the PRK1U and believed he wouldn't die, so I worked with the PRK1U on his health during that period. After 3 weeks of severe suffering, our sons came by to say goodbye to their father. He was only a shadow of his former self. For the sake of our sons, he agreed to go to the hospital, so we drove immediately to the emergency room where he was treated. Of course, we brought a PRK1U with us. Shortly thereafter, about 2 hours later, he felt much better and was able to have dinner. After that, he wanted to go home. After just under 3 days, he was back home and slept for 2 weeks with only brief interruptions. My husband has recovered very well and is back to working outdoors, doing physical tasks like woodworking, gardening, and so on. He's also now working much more intensively in mental and spiritual pursuits. A very old cat, which was very ill, was run over in front of our house. My husband thought that it didn't want to go on living in sickness any longer. Another cat was also very old and sick. Time and again, we would retrieve it half dead from the basement or elsewhere and care for it. Each time it was already very cold and barely breathing. But we nursed it, and it slowly recovered again. Then it stopped eating and drinking. It accepted nothing more and lay down on the menu pile. That was clear. With a heavy heart, I took her to the vet, who gave her an injection to end her life. When we buried her in the garden, I saw her sitting beside her grave, watching us. She seemed content. Mr. Grabovoi writes, there is also information confirming Silvia's description of the rapid resurrection of pets affected by the devices. Currently, research is being conducted based on concrete evidence showing that products near a functioning PRK1U or PRK1UM device don't decay and harmful bacteria and viruses are destroyed. Possible helpers for our village. Before I wake up in the morning, I occasionally receive visits from those who have passed on. Many would like to return. Once, in the middle of last year, Theo came. He was the mayor of the village where I live and was very popular. With him were many who had passed on, also from this village. I knew most of them. They talked among themselves about how important it was to return for the people in the village. Theo pointed at me and said to them, "It will all turn out well because Silvia knows how." He laughed, waved to me, and left. When I woke up, I discussed it with my husband, and we began working with the book The Resurrection of People and Eternal Life from Now On is Our Reality by Mr. Grigori Grabovoi, but somehow we didn't make much progress. At the beginning of the year, I found a resurrection group led by Ines Wayland Berkeley. We work with this book there as well, and I'm able to understand and apply more and more of it. My husband supports me wherever he can. I know that many of those who have passed on want to return also to support and help us. Through Ljubica's writing, I have gained the courage to work more with the PRK1U for the resurrection of people and animals. I have reached the end of my talk, and I would like to say a few words about Mr. Grabovoi. Dear Mr. Grabovoi, my husband and I wholeheartedly congratulate you on your birthday and wish you all the best. We thank you sincerely for your tireless and wonderful dedication to people, animals, our Mother Earth, and so much more. We are profoundly grateful to have been led to your teachings, and we are able to integrate them gradually into our lives and the lives of all beings. Thank you all for your attention, and I wish you all a good evening and a joyful eternal life.
Bene, passiamo adesso. Sorry. Now we will hear the last speaker. That will be again Mr. Strakov. As you already know, Mr. Strakov is a heat power engineer. He was one of the first to test the PRK1U device when testing was conducted by Grigory Petrovich. And he has extensive experience in controlling technical devices. Because he works in production and has extensive experience in using the PRK1U and the PRK1UM devices. Okay, so now we will share the last speaker for today's conference.
I have read the reports and testimonies of Dr. Vasilyev that in hospitals where the PRK1U is constantly working, even during the height of the coronavirus infection, people didn't die. And in another hospital with the same conditions, where there was no PRK1U, people died. I also read the reports and results described by Ljubica and Silvia. Silvia, that in Switzerland there is a village where people work with several PRK1U devices, people and animals stop dying or are quickly resurrected. And also with the results or testimony of the interaction of the soul of the departed, in fact resurrected follower with the PRK1U device. I can conclude that the results described in the testimonies and reports of Ljubica and Silvia correspond to the functions of the PRK1U and PRK1UM. I can also share my work experience, in particular in October 2024, when working as a group for different purposes with devices, several participants who had three devices, PRK1U and PRK1UM, working continuously, observed such an effect that in the space behind the instrument panels, when the spread of consciousness expanded to the event horizon of eternal life, with the increase in control, there was a standardization and compaction of information in individual events. Moreover, the condensation was carried out by such spherical layers of consciousness. They were condensed in the horizontal plane, the concentration increased in events, and in the end, such a bright light of eternity flashed. The accumulation of the matter of eternity took place. Also, on November 4, quite recently, when working collectively to heal a person who was in intensive care, we observed a similar effect as Silvia describes in her testimony and message. In the image of the woman we worked on, at a level below, just below the edge of the ribs of the abdominal cavity, we saw two horizontally located, two bright blue spheres, about 10 centimeters in diameter. They were surrounded, as in a fog, by a bright silvery white mist. And the glow from these spheres rose up, enveloped, as it were, encompassed the stomach of this person for whom we were working and the lower part of the esophagus. All these testimonies, all this information and its analysis allow us to conclude that when using the devices PRK1U and PRK1UM, as well as from groups of 25 or 23 interconnected devices, the development of concentration of eternal life occurs, both at the user of these devices and in the places where the devices are located. The events of eternal life are concentrated. So, in the neighborhood near the devices, people stop dying. People, animals, well, in fact, it turns out all living beings. When groups of three devices or more than three devices are continuously operating, the efficiency is more expressed by this work. And the radius of propagation of the field of eternity containing the matter of eternity is wider than when using a single device. As a result of this analysis and analysis of the operation of the devices, it's possible to make a recommendation to the heads of organizations, enterprises, to hire employees who have tested the devices and instruct them to work on the devices on the territory of these organizations to create the territory of eternal life. Well, after all, to connect these separate territories or relatively local areas to ensure eternal life for all. Thank you all for your attention. I thank the organizers of the conference for the invitation. Congratulations to Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi on his birthday. I'm very grateful for the teachings, for these magnificent devices, and for the opportunity to participate in saving people in universal salvation. It is a great honor for me. Thank you. Goodbye.
My dear participants of the scientific conference on the topic PRK1U and PRK1UM technologies and salvation of humanity. Let me summarize the presentation of the second day. The practical results achieved by the speakers Silvia and Dr. Konstantin Vasiliev at this conference confirm the possibility of creating zones of non-dying in which the PRK1U devices operate. This practice is a platform for creating at first local territories of eternal life, and then it will allow to cover the whole world with the ensuring of eternal life. According to scientific calculations, the range of the system of 25 devices in the training centers is 7 kilometers. At the same time, along static optical lines, static waves of reality, according to the theory of wave synthesis, connecting device system in accordance with the patent information carrying system, the concentration of the events of eternal life increases many times, increasing the immortality along those lines. The closer the system of 25 devices are, the more intense bursts or explosion of dynamic optical regions, dynamic waves of reality, appear over static optical lines according to the results of physical and mathematical calculation, and then this makes it possible for the territories of undying to manifest themselves. When a group of 3 devices and the system of 25 devices interact, the territory of non-dying, according to calculation, increases from 7 kilometers, as mentioned above, when only the system of 25 devices is operating, to 21 kilometers, when the system of 25 devices is operating simultaneously with a group of 3 devices. Therefore, in addition to training, having a system of 25 devices and a group of 3 connected devices, it's possible to carry out scientific and practical activities to implement the established functions, which is of great importance for ensuring eternal life for oneself and everyone in their physical bodies. Therefore, it is necessary to set a control goal to increase the creation of centers with 25 and 28 devices as quickly as possible. With the systematic work of marketing specialists on promotion, those centers can only be fully loaded with students and provide financial profit in addition to intensive education, but can also develop scientific activities to increase the intensity of connection between the centers to ensure eternal life for all. The followers of the teachings are invited to increase the activity of control, participation, and assistance in the creation of centers with 25 and 28 devices to create at first local territories of eternal life and then to cover the whole world with the provision of eternal life. I thank all the participants and guests of our scientific conference for their participation and invite them to become colleagues in the process of implementing the task set to ensure eternal life for everybody. Okay, so thank you everybody, and we can close the scientific conference.